Welcome to the second out of 4 episodes of my trips in China. This one is about Shanghai, but also here I did a little day trip to a village outside by an initiative called DNA in Anji, that is in the rural countryside about 2 hours outside of Shanghai, where they are opening, or they have opened already 2 years ago, a digital nomads co-living that is quite successful, quite active, and has a vibrant community. But I'm also sharing my experiences of living in Shanghai for a week. I did a day of tourism. I went up this iconic television tower, and I did a hop-on, hop-off bus tour to get an idea of what the city looks like, to open up the city as a concept for me. Shanghai definitely was interesting, so let's jump into it.
This is episode 2 out of 4 from Christoph's journey through China, exploring the digital nomad scene. If you haven't heard the first episode yet, I recommend you start there. It gives you the full context of what he's doing here. In this episode, we're in Shanghai, a city of 25 million people, futuristic skylines, and some surprising challenges when you're trying to live there as a foreigner. You will hear about a vibrant co-living space, a visa-free innovation zone, and what it actually feels like to navigate everyday life in China.
This hospital visit was definitely the most frustrating experience in the last couple of years.
My name is Palle Bo, and this is the Nomad Summit podcast, this week from Shanghai.
Hello. Welcome.
And now, facts about where we are.
Shanghai is the largest city in China, with around 25 million people, and that is more than the entire population of Australia in one city. Just 40 years ago, most of what you see in the skyline didn't exist. The futuristic district of Pudong was mostly farmland in the 1980s. The iconic Shanghai Tower is the second largest building in the world, standing at 632 meters, and it twists as it rises to reduce wind pressure. Shanghai has the world's largest metro system by route length, with more than 800 kilometers of track. You can ride for hours and still be in the same city. The Shanghai Maglev is the fastest commercial train in the world, reaching 431 kilometers per hour, and they're working on getting it up to 600 kilometers per hour. It literally floats above the tracks using magnets. The famous waterfront, the Bund, is basically a timeline in architecture. Colonial European buildings on one side, sci-fi skyscrapers on the other. Shanghai's port is the busiest container port on the planet. More cargo passes through here than anywhere else on Earth. Despite being ultra-modern, parts of Shanghai still feels like old China, with narrow alleyways called Longtang, where people live, cook and hang out just like they did generations ago. Starbucks opened one of its largest stores in the world here, because Shanghai has more Starbucks locations than any other city globally. And here's a wild one. Beneath the city, the ground is slowly sinking. Rapid development has caused parts of Shanghai to subside by over 2 meters in the last century.
And that was facts about where we are.
It's been 2 full nights already in Shanghai, so it's day 3. And this city is very different from Shenzhen in so many aspects, and so is also my accommodation here. I arrived on Thursday evening around 9 o'clock at a co-living space called Dweller. And I must say, yes, I really liked my stay in our living room in Shenzhen, but definitely dweller here in Shanghai is much more lively. And just after dropping my luggage, I was taken out by the founder and his business partner, and we went out for some beers in a pretty cool Berlin-style underground bar just around the corner. And I got the full intro into how this community works, how it started back in COVID, as it was started by an architect and his friends. Your name on WeChat shows 3 letters, AOY.
Yes.
But that's not your Chinese name. That's
Yes.
more like an international nickname.
Actually, it's my Japanese name because I was in Japan for 2 years. And my English name is Arlo. Yes, so you can just call me Arlo.
Okay, yeah, everything here has a concept. And right now we're sitting in your architecture studio that is in the same building, just some levels below the co-living. And it's quite impressive what I see here. And obviously there's also a lot of thought put into the co-living, some floors up here on the 13th floor. There are room for like 18 people living there. And now in the last 5 days, I've experienced a lot of that community already. Just before we came down, there was a bunch of people sitting around the dinner table and they had food together. And on one of those like typical Chinese round serving tables,
Yes.
that was actually something that I here seen for the first time. It's one that has an integrated heat plate. So
Yes.
there's technology everywhere.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how this here came together, how you, together with others, co-founded Dweller you opened a year ago, but the idea is a little bit older.
Yes, the idea was from, I think, the May 2024. Me and the other co-founder Lee, we were living in the same co-living space here in Shanghai, which is operated by a Chinese youth community called 706. So we met there. He was kind of an operator there. So we met, and I was an architect. So the co-living is always my topic.
Christoph already heard about these communities before. Places like 706, which seems to be the center of this whole ecosystem in China. Dweller is a newer, slightly more commercial version, but still trying to keep that community feeling.
Yes, that's how we imagine it, or that's our vision, that Dweller is somehow a more commercialized co-living space than 706 in China or in Shanghai.
In the last 5 days that I've been living here now, I didn't feel that it's commercial.
Yes, that's the vibe we try to create. If you didn't feel that way, that means we succeeded.
Also, the story of it is not evolved around digital nomads and remote workers. It's more coming from a community of young people, students,
Yes.
that are living in the first place for a little bit longer. So it's for people just living together and finding community. And you here seem to have found like a good crossover of people that live for a longer period of time, including like some since the beginning, and others that are more short-term, including even some bunk bed rooms
Yes.
that you use like a hostel. People come here for very short periods of time
Yes.
as well.
Yes, that's by design first. We don't choose who's going to live here. Like anyone who want to experience the co-living style, or someone already have it or want to continue this kind of lifestyle, we are all welcome them. So we don't need them to define themselves as digital nomad or something, or freelancers or anything. But maybe 50% of our residents, they have a job and they need to go to some companies to do their work. Yes. And the other 50%, they are the owners of the startups and the freelancers and those people who just lost their job, this kind of people. So it's half-half.
One thing that stood out was how naturally the place turned into a co-working space. Even though it wasn't designed as one, people just started working here.
Do you have some kind of an active community management in terms of the events that are happening here?
Yes, we have a staff. That's she's only doing the event management there, and she arranged all the events. So we have a regular event agenda, but very few of them were held by ourselves. Mostly from our friends from the organizations that has a connection with us. So they say, we want to hold an event, but the venue in Shanghai is too expensive, or the design or the vibe don't fit our purpose. So they come to us because we offer a free location for the events.
What was your favorite event that happened here so far?
I think my best is the one held by my friend. She's actually an artist. She's a curator and a photographer. And she went to the border of Thailand and Myanmar. And she did a very thorough investigation through the camps there. Mm-hmm. The camps are holding a lot of like refugees and childs, and they have their own schools. She did some kind of documentary there. And after all, she made it to an exhibition, and she just did some kind of report here in our location. And there are a lot of people come here. At the beginning, we didn't expect so many people that are interested in this topic. Like it's too somehow deep and somehow dark, but nearly 80 people came and hearing her sharing. So we are quite surprised. And the effect is so good. And we are so impressed by the photos and by the content she offered to us.
Wow. That was an exhibition, but I assume, like from the vibe that I got here so far, that you also have a lot of interactive events, like discussions about philosophy and maybe politics and whatever.
Yes, we're also doing that. We have a reading session that were held for more than 9 months. It's held by a PhD in Fudan University. She's doing his PhD in social engineering, and he has a lot of books he want to share with other people, especially our residents. So he just come and say, I want to do it. The reading is really a big part in our co-living, and it's very important to us. And we want to promote more books and the culture behind those books about the idea of community, the idea of co-living and self-organization. Yes.
Yeah, I've already seen a lot of books around. So there are shelves full of books, and they're quite mixed. So Chinese books and international English books as well.
Yes.
But mainly the language spoken at your events, I assume, is Mandarin.
Yes, it's Mandarin. Because in China, the fluent English speakers are not so common, actually, so far.
But most of the people I meet around here are quite fluent in English. So it makes it easy for me as a foreigner to stay here.
Yes, I think it's because that's a bubble around you. You met us, and you met some other people, maybe friend of friend. Like we are quite international, and our residents and our friends are all very international, but that's definitely not a common thing in Shanghai or in China. If you go to the street,
I can confirm. Yesterday I've shared for the first time in a long time a story on Instagram. I don't usually do that, but I shared a screenshot of an app here, AMAP or Gaudi.
Yes.
Yeah, and so it has an English user interface, but as these Chinese super apps try to have all those features, and so inside this app I can order a taxi, and I've done that several times, but it's always funny that there is a push notification that gives me some warnings in Chinese, like with symbols. Everything is Chinese, but the button to confirm is English. So it says, I understand. So it shows me a lot of Chinese, but makes me click, I understand.
Yeah.
And that's the only way to move things forward. So that is a really good summary of how my experience as a foreigner in China in the last 2 weeks already is. There is always a little bit of English,
Mm-hmm.
but the crucial things you need to ask people. You need to find someone who speaks English, or you go with a friend. Yesterday, I was in the hospital here to get my stitches taken out from my surgery that I had on my after I broke my elbow, and this hospital visit was definitely the most frustrating experience in the last couple of years.
Like no English for
I went there all alone, and if I had asked someone to go with me, maybe the entire thing would have taken 1 hour instead of 5.
much smoother.
Yeah, but I spent like the entire day in the hospital. That was really bad.
So sorry for you. So sorry for you. You should ask someone. We have a lot of people that's very friendly and willing to help.
Yes, and when I shared this experience today, someone told me that there's even a commercial service in China that you can pay people, for example, to wait in a queue for you and do all these kind of bureaucracy. So if I had known it in advance, maybe I would have just hired one of those helpers.
No. Just ask a friend.
I really feel like in these 5 days here, I made friends. I feel home.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Like, who's your best friend here now?
Of course, the dog.
The dog.
Yeah, there's one dog and I think 2 cats, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I think 2 or 3, but they all stay at their home. Like Xiaohei, the dog, is the mascot in our community.
And it's quite a big dog, but the name translates to Little Black.
Yes, Little Black. A very casual name because he was adopted.
Yeah, we went out for dinner tonight, his owner, the dog, and me.
Okay.
We had some typical Shanghai food with some noodles in a soup and a piece of meat on top.
Okay. That is good. You enjoy it?
Yes, the area here is really nice. You have everything around. There are a lot of restaurants of all kinds just down the street and around the corner, and so many coffee shops. That's really interesting to see how Shanghai actually has quite an amazing coffee culture.
Okay. Did you go to other places, like maybe the tourist spot or somewhere in Shanghai?
Yes. On Sunday I did I do a lot of walking these days.
Okay.
Like every day I have 12,000 steps minimum. I think my record day was 21,000 steps.
Wow.
But on Sunday I did the tourist thing. I booked a taxi. I think that's when I took the screenshot through a map and went to the TV tower. So the famous iconic
Oriental
building.
Pearl?
Exactly, the Oriental Pearl with these 3 bubbles, the highest one, 351 meters. So I went all the way up. And then I really, especially with big cities, in order to get a first impression and a feeling of what the city is like, bus tours worked really well for me.
Yes.
So that's what I did after the TV tower. I went after hop on, hop off bus tours.
Double deck bus.
Yes, double-decker bus. It was surprisingly cheap,
good.
actually. Also, I just paid 60 RMB.
Okay.
So it was a really good deal. And then I just kept walking along like the high street and the river bank.
The Bund area?
Yes.
We call it the Bund area. Okay.
Yeah.
You enjoy it?
Absolutely. The city is so beautiful with so many different aspects. Yeah.
Yes.
But back to the Dweller. So it's running now for more than a year.
Yes.
It's fully occupied. It works for you as a commercial project. So what's next?
Next is we are going to expand, of course.
But how do you expand? You already have the entire floor.
The building is quite empty.
Oh, is it?
Yes. It has a lot of like available spaces because that's a very, I say, Shanghai thing or Chinese thing. This building is a little bit old and it was designed for the function, both for residential function and office function. So it's quite mixed use. Because
But when you say old, if I look around, I would say it's not older than 20 years, is it?
it's about 20 years. And because in China, the maintenance of those buildings are not always good. So it's quite old. Like the interior, it doesn't have like the brand new paint or something. So people will consider it old. And they have more choices. They have like fancy office buildings and better like home, better apartments. So this building is somehow kind of abandoned. People don't want to work here, and some people don't want to live here. So it's very empty.
Okay. I mean, I get what you mean when you say it's not like has the freshest paint, but it's in terms of like maintenance, it's also not in disrepair. It's not falling apart and things work.
Yes, but in Shanghai, people have so many choices. Like the new buildings, new apartment, it's coming and coming. And also for office, they can work at home. That's a new choice after the COVID period. And they can go to maybe some small houses, like the old house in the French concession part, which is historical, and they always have very fancy interior design. And they can also go to the like big towers, the skyscrapers. So this building, it's none of this. It's just old and very normal. So people just somehow abandon here.
Okay, so that makes it attractive for you to expand from here and take over the other floors.
Yes. So, but that's a perfect, I would say, location for us to do our experiment. Yes, if you call this co-living community experiment in China, because it's a very brand new thing here. Because the price is very low and the architecture design fit the function for residential use, and it has some kind of publicity.
And the location here is quite livable, I would say, from my first experience.
Yes.
So you have all you need. The next metro station is walkable.
Yeah, it's a very good location. It has a lot of like small restaurants around here, and it's a very residential area district here in Shanghai. It has everything we need. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Welcome, Songping. We were just sitting together where I was learning about the event that you're planning. So we first met in Chiang Mai in December, where you were hosting this Network OS conference, like a one-day event at Panspace. And now you're planning a new event here in Shanghai in May. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So for the Chiang Mai ones, the three girls, we came together, think we want to organize a conference for digital nomad. End up like I got a very good understanding about the ecosystem in Chiang Mai and grow a little bit of knowledge about digital nomad and set up some connections. So when I came back to Shanghai, I actually gave a public speech basically introducing the digital nomad community in Chiang Mai to the Chinese audience. So they actually have a sub kind of stage featuring the digital nomad and OPC topic. And they want to hear some more international perspectives. So I got a chance to speak up.
OPC stands for One Person Company, basically what we would call solopreneurs or indie hackers.
Just for the flavor, how does OPC sound in Chinese?
一人公司.
一人公司.
Yes, a company for one.
And that's now your target audience for an event that you're organizing in a very unique venue. Tell us more.
Yes. So after that substage talking about OPC, we feel like there's a huge demand domestically. People want to know more about how OPC works and what the potentials can be. So we actually, once again, work with the Open Source Technology Association. We're going to have another big one, like a global OPC summit, which we plan to happen in June. And in this very special venue, it's located in we call it Shanghai Eastern Hub. And it's actually a very innovative and unique zone because for foreigners, if you want to go there, you don't need a visa for China.
It's basically a special economic zone in the airport area, so you technically don't cross the border. So it's designed to make it easier for international visitors to enter without a traditional visa.
You told me you're aiming for 1,500 attendees and about 1/3 of them, 500, coming from abroad. Basically like an international digital nomads community, people that are in the stage of being remote workers, remote freelancers, and want to learn more about what?
So basically, we're targeting like OPCs for this event, and normally there are like 4 different categories. So indie developers definitely is our like target audience, and the second would be content creators. I mean, people who generate content by themselves, taking videos, taking podcasts, and also they selling their like episodes and have already achieved the financial results. And also the third type is individual consultant. People offer their unique expertise, providing consulting service online. So the fourth one is more like hardware related. People are doing their own outsourcing, or they work with supply chain and add their own kind of branding or IP on it and sell these products cross-border. So basically, 4 of those type are our target audience. And what they can get from our conference is also like 4 pillar of like content. So first, they got chance to learn from the best OPCs. We want to like invite those excellent OPCs such as Peter Levels, Stan Coins. If we're lucky to get them, we want them, those like people already achieve it. And in terms of like volumes or impact or like financial results, I will definitely want to learn their secret sauce. That's the first one. And the second, we also would, because we're having this event in China.
When? What are the dates?
The date has not been finalized yet, but we're targeting June, like beginning of June. So for the second part, we want to leverage the huge like open source communities in China, including those AI like large language model providers, and also those chip manufacturers, and also like the supply chain kind of manufacturers. They are very happy to work with OPCs and help to add value to their works. So that's the second part they can get. And the third is from the local officers. As I mentioned earlier, the Chinese local governments very welcome all those OPCs. I mean, basically they are like individual startups. So in the new area of AI, and with the help of AI, those OPCs individually can achieve huge financial success already comparing to previous like big teams. I mean, the money or the revenue they generated can be the same, and which means for the local government, they can get tax and also job opportunities. Yeah.
What's the name of the event?
It's called NOPC Summit. So the full name is Nomad One Person Company Summit.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Song Ping.
Thank you, Chris, for having me today.
After a week in Shanghai, Christoph is now on a 30-hour train journey to Chengdu, reflecting on what he's experienced so far.
Right now, the buildings outside look still kind of similar to Shanghai, but we're just like 3 hours out of Shanghai. I expect the landscape to change, the vegetation to change. And this is also the moment when I'm thinking a bit back of the last 2 weeks in China and how to close the second episode of our 4 episodes series. So one theme definitely is the first week felt a lot like all new discoveries, a lot of superficial observations of the obvious things. But the longer I stay in the country, the more time I spend and the more I interact with people, with systems, with entities, the more I look beyond just the surface. Like, for example, this week, Monday, I went to a hospital, to the public hospital, to get my stitches removed. And I had, I would say, one of the most frustrating experiences in the last couple of years. I mean, I deliberately went down this hole and did not go to a private hospital. I was recommended the state hospital that was basically just down our street, quite a big one, university hospital, and I was told that it would be quite a good one. And I'm pretty sure when it comes to high quality medicine and like severe treatments, they probably have the specialists that you need and the machinery and the gear and modern tools that you need. But for my more basic request, it was an awful experience. Like being sent from Pontius to Pilatus and having to get a number here, waiting queue there. Then systems didn't work for foreigners. I had to go to the manual cash desk because the automated payment only works for locals. So there were a lot of experiences throughout the entire week where I really felt that China is not made for foreigners. It is slowly developing there, and some of the apps that you use in your everyday life have some translations. But for example, I posted a screenshot, and I will surely add that to the blog post of this episode as well, where the taxi ride-hailing app gave me a push notification with some warning, all in Chinese, like 6 different icons with Chinese labeling. And the icons were also not really speaking for themselves very much. But the button then to confirm this was translated. So the button literally said in English, "I understand." So that's how I had to confirm these warning signs. And this picture really stands for the experience as a foreigner here. And I mean, yes, I decided to go to that hospital alone, not being accompanied by some bilingual person to help me, because I really wanted to see how the system works and how my life can be. And in the end, yes, my mission is to experience China not as a tourist. If I would stay in a hotel and use just these services that are available for short-term visitors, for tourists, things could be very easy, I'm quite sure, especially as you can buy services for cheap money. And later I was told that there are even services of people that do things like the queuing in public services in the hospitals for you, and people that just help you for money. But I want to look into life as it is for slow travelers, for digital nomads, for remote workers that come from abroad with the intention to really dive into what it's like to live here like a local. And yes, many other countries also across Southeast Asia are much easier in this, because they are more prepared to cater for foreign, non-local speaking, non-native speaking visitors. China is not. Like the main food ordering app, Meituan, for example, does not come with an English user interface. Nevertheless, I succeeded. I ordered food this week. But these are the little obstacles that you will have to face. And that makes life, I would say interesting and challenging. Also, this second week really showed some observations in terms of like social behavior. Chinese people in an individual one-on-one interaction are very friendly, very welcoming. But if they blend into a larger crowd where you get a bit more anonymous with less social control and social responsibility, you really feel a difference. Like the first one that already appeared in Shenzhen, but I didn't pay too much attention, is, for example, in public transport. People in the train stations, they first push into the wagon instead of letting people out. And I probably noticed that even more with my injury at my arm, where I'm quite sensitive for pushes and people countering my direction. People waiting from the outside are pushing in instead of letting people out. And that's something that you see across other places as well. Like in the hospital, there were people really jumping the queue, pushing. So these were little unpleasant experiences, as well as other social behavior like smoking. It was really surprising that it feels like China is, in that sense, maybe 10, 20 years behind other developed societies. People really smoke in public, indoors, in restaurants. and in public transport and places where I was really surprised. I hadn't seen that since my childhood. So yes, there are big differences. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm still very excited to explore and very excited about my train ride here and the next 2 cities, Chengdu for a week, that I was told would be much more chill, much more relaxed. It's the home of the panda bears. So one more stop to come there with a digital nomads and remote workers community called DN Beta. I'm going there. And after that, there will be a week of Dali, more in the south, by a lake in the nature. Chinese people tell me Dali is the Chiang Mai of China. There I will be living in a co-living hosted by the NCC community. That was one of the organizers of the event in Chiang Mai, where I first met all these young Chinese people, and I'm really curious and excited to see how things are going there. So yeah, that was my wrap-up of the second week, my week in Shanghai. And now I'm heading for the onboard restaurant and see what they have for me.
Next week, Christoph arrives in Chengdu, in the southwest of China, a city known for its relaxed vibe and, of course, the giant pandas. But we've saved a little bit from his visit to the Shanghai area, because before you hear about Chengdu, Christoph will take us to a small village just outside of Shanghai, where a co-living community is trying to build something very different.
We have now arrived at this beautiful place and had a little walking tour with all these big function rooms, with a big kitchen, with an uncountable number of rice cookers. And I see that this is a place where I could definitely come and stay for a week or 2 weeks or even a month.
Yeah.
That's coming up next week on the Nomad Summit podcast. This episode was hosted by Christoph Huebner and produced by me, Palabo, from Radio Guru. See you next week.
Produced by radioguru.co.uk.